Hi, my name is Cody Zan, and welcome to my podcast. And this is my first podcast ever. It took me a lot of courage to make this decision and took action about it. And for this podcast, I like to share my stories, thoughts, and experiences and insights and share and would like to connect to other people who are probably struggling in life and having a lot of self doubts. Also, wanting to become better, more improved, and also know that you have a desire inside you, in your heart, and you also wanted to really overcome the obstacles in life, and you just find yourself you're really far from it. But I can tell you that it's really not far away. So that's why I'm telling you some stories. And for the first podcast here, I would like to share one of the most important lesson that I learned from my experience, which is fear. Yes, fear. So I practice as an acupuncturist in Vancouver, British Columbia, in Canada. Yeah, if you never had acupuncture before, I think you're missing out. But if you had acupuncture before, and you probably know what I'm talking about. And I focus, specialize in practicing a really painful type. So that's a double negatives for a lot of people. But interestingly, I treat a lot of chronic pain in my practice. So I run my private practice for about 8 years at this point, and I've seen over 12,000 visits. Yes, over 12,000 visits in my whole career. And I can't tell you how many people that I've treated have never had acupuncture before. And some of the first timers, they always ask, does acupuncture hurt before they had it? So I always answer my question by saying, this is not a massage. And it's a needle, but it fixed your problem. And most people would be understandable, and they understand that it won't be feeling super relaxing or pleasant. And well, eventually, when they've done it, they responded, wow, it was not what I thought at all. It wasn't painful. It was just like a little pressure kind of feeling. It just foreign. Exactly. That's a foreign sensation that you've never had because a stuck a needle in your body that you have never had. So I've done so many so many I've done this kind of practice so many times. Now I'm so good at it. At I would say I wouldn't call luring. It would be more like motivating people to try it or um, over help them to overcome the fear of needles. And what I've noticed to be an acupuncturist is that the fear of needles is never uh, an actual needle itself or the puncture to the skin or muscles or whatever it is. It's more about a thought about being poked. Okay? So it's about a thought that someone has in their mind that they're being poked, that they got them to feel extreme fear, and people just don't want to do it. even though they know it's good. Through that experience, it made me, it reminded me of fear in life, fear in doing things that seem good for you, but something about the fear that you just don't seem like you can be part of it. You just feel like this is so foreign and so out there, far away from my reality that I won't be even, I don't want to even get involved or even think about it. So let's take this podcast. Before I did it, it was just like in my head, it was like really far away from recording the first podcast. And I've been thinking about it for months and months and months. And trust me, I've told many of my friends, and even my friends kept asking me when we hang out and say, "Hey, how's the podcast?" I said, "Yeah, well, I haven't done it," and I made up whatever excuses that can, make them not to ask me anymore, so that I can feel better about it. And I recognize the pattern, and I really don't like to do that, but I've done this for many, many months up until tonight. Finally, I came to the point where I see myself more enjoy the. I see myself more. What's how do you say it? I see more positivities by doing it than not to. How about that? And it did. And I took many different trainings, read many different books, which we'll talk about in our later episodes about some of my journeys. And at some point, it might spark some of you some great ideas to um, also solve, hopefully can solve your problems, and hopefully you can use my story as an analogy or as a real life case to um, as just part of the motivation, whatever the way you like to use. So my point is, it took me many months go for different trainings, personal growth, and psychology training. I completed the whole Shadow Self, which is written by Carl Jung, who's a psychologist. And also I've done some online trainings on the personal growth. I've attended Tony Robbins' UPW, Unleash the Power Within. Um, yeah, many, many. And none of them really got me to this point of taking action until I decided it. Yes, until you decided it to make change. So, where am I going with this? So, fear. I'm just pulling out the definition of fear. Hold on a second. Fear meaning. According to Oxford Languages, it's an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or a threat. As a verb, be afraid of, as likely to be dangerous, painful, or threatening. So, if we really dissect the word fear, it's it's a feeling, it's an emotion, and it never mentioned it's a fact. It's a feeling, so that means it's subjective. Well, I think you can say it's more of a subjective perception per se, because whatever you feel fear, I'm it may not I may not find it fearful, consider that fear is a subjective feeling. So if it's a feeling, so what does that do? What is the meaning? What is the feeling trying to tell you? Well, let me tell you what I learned from it. So I've been in a fairly, I would say, well, I've done really well myself. I have a really good practice, and I'm pretty well known in the community, and I'm able to solve people's problems, and I have good friends, and I enjoy working out, training, and I have good trainers. Also, I live in a pretty nice neighborhood, very safe, and I don't have any major struggles in life. At the same time, I've been living in a state of just plain, just stable. Maybe stable is not a best word, but you know what I mean. It's like, oh, I'm not really thriving. At the same time, I'm not, you know, bad or um, traumatic or going broke, things like that. It's never like that. But I've been living in this state of just safe, very safe, and very comfortable for a long time. For maybe since maybe a little bit after COVID, everybody got some panic or some sort of a fear during COVID. But after 2021, I feel like my life has been fairly safe and stable. Well, my point is that so those years was, I wouldn't consider those are my happiest years, even though I always pray, always wish to be to be healthy and safe. But when you're living in safety, living in stableness every day, um, my own desires and my voice gotten louder and louder every single day. And I don't know how many of you can resonate. I personally feel like I meant to do more. There's more out there that I wanted to pursue. There's more places I like to visit. For me, I like to go travel. I like to go write a book. I like to start a podcast. I like to build more businesses. I like to make more money. I like to meet more interesting people. I like to make some influence, make some waves. I know I have those desires inside me, and I'm not crazy. And I don't really share with people about that, but I do know I have those desire in my heart, and it's such a uncomfortable feeling living in a physical body that's trapped by these unfulfilled desires. And I know that I have them, and I know that I have the capabilities, and I know that I can achieve them by learning, by just getting out there and do it. But it took me months to get to this point. And I hope this can help you to also reflect in your own life too. And look at your life right now. I do believe our current life or the 3D reality is the is the reflection is the reflection of our belief and our thoughts. Okay, really consider that. Our 3D reality, meaning look at your bank account, look at your friends, look at your own physique, look at where you live, look at the mirror, look at about yourself, look at how you think on a day-to-day basis, and also look at things that you constantly fear and always on your mind. Really think about, really do a full audit. Yeah, just really do it now. Really think about it. Really just like look directly to your life. Life is a big word, but when I break it down into exactly every single element, then you can see your life in a 3D level for the first time. I did that to myself. I look at my life, I look at my finance, I look at my health, I look at my friendships, my connections, and there's so many things that that was really messed up. And for some reason, I chose to believe that I'm I'm better than I actually am, but I'm actually not. So that go back to my original point. Um, Being an acupuncturist have given me an opportunity to view the world on both ends. One end is that seeing people who wants to get better, who wants to help themselves, and they know what they need to do, and they have fear, which stops them from moving forward. On the other end is that the person who's inside you that tells you, shows you that this is dangerous. Don't do it. It's gonna fail. You might get hurt. This can go really bad, and you might end up in the hospital, and no one would care, or nobody would take care of you. This would cost you a lot of money. So those inner voices, those voice, sometimes are so muted, and they're just being normalized, being normalized. Yeah, because it happens. It's you've been rehearsing it over and over and over again every single day, and you don't even know that what you're telling yourself. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm telling myself, but I just know that I suppose, not suppose, I want to do something, but there's some unexplained force behind, inside my body, that's not allowing me to do that, and it feels wrong to do it. And sometimes it's wrong, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not saying to do dangerous activities like, uh, well, just don't do things that's damn dangerous. I mean, use your common sense too, okay? Have some common sense, people, if you're listening here. And so some of those inner voices are just plain um, toxic, and some of them are coming from maybe your childhood. You heard it from somebody else. Maybe your parents said this. Maybe coming from your friends. Who knows where it came from? But at the end of the day, are they serving you? Are you achieving what you really want? Are you even bother to take a minor risk for something that you truly desire? Think about that. So, I think the takeaway from this episode, I think I'm gonna wrap up soon. I don't know how long it's been, but I think it's maybe about 20 minutes at this point. Is that if you have a fear, I would like you to, well, first step is you need to recognize your fear or fears. Recognizing it means know what it feels like, because fear do feels like um, I think here's I'd like to add on one little thing is that you may be also avoiding doing the things that you fear so that you haven't felt fear in a long time, maybe for some times. And I'd like you to think about something that you fear of engaging, and going to that's going to be positively benefiting you. It can be a career, it can be relationship, it can be a finance, it can be a decision, or it can be just, I don't know, a text, a phone call to somebody that you know. Maybe you just wanted to apologize to somebody, or maybe sometimes you just wanted to express like how much you appreciate your brother, your sister, your friends, and whoever that you like to show appreciation, but you just fear that person or whoever that's going to reject you, that they don't take it seriously. But that's not the main thing. The main thing is I want you to take a look at your fear, really take a good look, and and write them down. Really write them down. Like write down like saying, I when I see this pretty girl yesterday at the coffee shop, I feel fear. I feel my chest was pounding. I got sweaty palms. I got I can't catch my breath. And yeah, it can be just physical symptoms that you just like blend in with emotions. And you don't even register as fear. So first step is to properly identifying what fear is. It doesn't need to be what you think fear is. It can be just physical symptoms. So pay attention to your symptoms. Is your heart pounding? Is your stomach churning? Are you trying to procrastinate? Are you trying to avoid doing something, or you trying to find comfort? So when those moments that you catch it, and likely you're experiencing fear, but you just don't think that they're fear. Okay? Thank you for listening today. I don't know who you are, but I really wanted to build a tribe. I do want to build a community. I do want these stories and lessons and experiences reach more people like you, reach people who truly care about their life and want the most and want the best, and also willing to work hard on it. And yeah, it means a lot to me if you can share this podcast to somebody that you know and make comments. I love to read your comments. Well, don't make one star comments. Well, if it's really bad, then don't listen to it. There's like millions of other podcasts. You don't have to listen to this. But if you listen to the very end, shoot me a comment. What you learned from it. Did that work for you? And I do care. I care because I I've gone through this seesaw situation for many years. So if my story can help a tiny bit, can shift a little bit of inside you, I'm really happy and grateful forever. Okay, now until next time, you guys have a great day, or make it a great day, whatever you can. Bye bye.